Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead, welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. In this video, we're going to go over President David O. McKay's visit to Adamonte and the interesting details about that visit. And we're going to be here on the University of Virginia's Mormon Studies website, this portion called David O. McKay Diary Excerpts, which is really cool. They have all these different topics, like you can search his diaries by topic. And the one that we're going to be looking at is found here, the topic Alvin R. Dyer. Alvin R. Dyer, I've talked about him many times on the channel. He ended up becoming a member of the first presidency. He had a special mission that had to do with the lands in Missouri when he was set apart. In the blessing, it said that he was a watchman of the consecrated lands in Missouri. And he had a lot of involvement in the church sites there. And yeah, they have the entire set of his diaries. There's 121 volumes. So this is where this is coming from. Before we get into that, here is the update on the Flood the Earth Challenge as of the 3rd. We're at 8,814 copies of the Book of Mormon that have been shared so far. We're trying to get to 10,000. And there are 1,013 people that have joined the challenge. We met the original goal of 1,000 people. Now we're shooting for 5,000, which I think is possible. It's just a matter of time and everybody continually participating and little by little people joining. If you haven't joined, please do so. Just share a copy of the Book of Mormon and then let me know in the comments or send me an email. Make sure to include #flood in the subject line of your email or in your comment. And remember, the easiest way to share the Book of Mormon is with the Gospel Library app. Go to Scriptures. You'll see this button at the top that says Share Now, and it'll give you a link that you can share for the Book of Mormon app that you can then text or email or direct message or whatever to somebody that you want to share the Book of Mormon with. So keep up the good work, everybody. Okay, so it seems that this entry was actually written by Alvin R. Dyer when you go all the way down to the very bottom, although he refers to himself in the third person, so don't be confused by that. But this is Wednesday and Tuesday, June 1st and 2nd of 1966. Journal record of the visit of President David O. McKay to Adamonte. Pertinent facts of the visit with President McKay were the following. President Joseph Fielding Smith of the Council of the 12, Elder Alvin R. Dyer, assistant to the 12 at that time. Later he became an apostle and then a member of the first presidency, like I said. David Lawrence McKay, the son of the president. Historic places visited: Independence, Missouri; Liberty, Missouri; Far West, Missouri; and Adamonte, Missouri. So we're going to focus, in this video, we're going to focus on Adamonte. Although the other visits were interesting too. I already shared the visit to Far West on the Facebook page. I'll probably do a separate video about that. But yeah, so at Adamonte, leaving Gallatin, which is pretty close to there, we traveled north on Highway 13 to the highway marker pointing to the direction of Adamonte, a turnoff I had taken many times before. So that would be Alvin R. Dyer. Crossing over the railroad tracks, we were on the gravel road leading west. This is the road that the church assisted with the cost of grading and graveling during the time that President Dyer presided over the Central States mission. Passing Dustin's Diamond Farms, and that's referring to this couple right here, Henry and Joyce Dustin, or Dustman. They call their farm the Old Diamond Farms. We crossed over a creek bed bridge and ascended the hill on a narrow road to Tower Hill. Okay, so Tower Hill, that is Adamonte. So we're going to look at Google Earth. Okay, Adamonte, I don't know the exact borders of it or like the exact parcels of land that the church owns, but it's basically this area right here. Right here in the middle, this is the valley of Adamonte. The church leases this out to locals to farm. So currently crops are being grown there. And like here's the road right here that you would take. And then the entrance to Adamonte is just right here. So you come over here, you can go to the left, you can go to the right. When I went there, we went to the right and We came over like this, and then down here, and then this is Tower Hill, this area right here. Whoa. And we'll be talking about this star in just a minute. I added a place marker for right here, and then up here. Those are special sites. And then on the Facebook page, I have this 360 view. So this is on top of Tower Hill, looking down into the valley of Adamandayaman. And I always have to say that, you know, this picture and other pictures don't do it justice. It's just like, so it's not like the Grand Canyon, but it's like pretty big. It feels massive, or it did to me. And then the hill, you definitely don't get a sense of it here, but like it's really steep going down into the valley. Over here, this is where you park. You know, it's not paved or anything. There's a brand new bathroom area right there. But aside from that, there's not much. And I've been told by Tamara, by the way, she's the one that made it possible for us to go visit. She took us to the sites. We stayed at her house, and she kind of gave us a tour and shared everything that she knew about Adamandayaman. But yeah, she brought us here, and she said that relatively recently they cleared out this area so you could actually see into the valley of Adamandayaman. Before, they were like just really thick trees like what you see here. So it wasn't very visible. Okay, so this is Tower Hill. Okay, so the party stopped here, and President McKay, President Smith, and the rest of us got out of the cars and stood close to the spot of the ruins of the old Nephite and Adamic altar of prayer. Okay, so I talked to Tamara. In fact, when we went there the first time, she's collected a bunch of information about Adamandayaman because she like lives basically down the road, literally. And she pointed me to this book called Sacred Places: A Comprehensive Guide to Early LDS Historical Sites, Volume 4, Missouri. There's one volume that's actually on archive.org, and I found something very interesting in that. I'll do a video about that soon. But this is volume 4, and it has very detailed information in it about like some of the history of Adamandayaman. She said that, because remember, this is 1966. What we're reading right here, it's 1966. She said that this book said that in 1979, there was an archaeological dig where that altar was, the Nephite, or in another account, it was called a Nephitish altar. They basically discovered that it only went back, oh gosh, I can't remember now. I can't remember if she said it went back 400 to 500 years, or if it was 400 to 500 AD. Either way, according to the archaeology, it wouldn't go back necessarily into like Book of Mormon times. Like, if anything, if it is 400 to 500 AD, then that would be like at the very end of the Nephite civilization. So who knows? But it doesn't go back like before 400 AD, right? But 400 AD, that's around the time that the Nephites disappeared and they were destroyed. Now, let me go back to this. It says, Elder Dyer narrated some of the events of historic significance that transpired at this place, which concerned the, the many visits of the prophet Joseph Smith and of his designating the altars and how they were used by the ancients. So I think there's just questions that we're probably not going to have answered when it comes to that altar. It seems to have been like a Native American altar, but I don't know. There's different possibilities. Maybe like descendants of Nephi, you know, they constructed an altar, but maybe it wasn't like a kosher altar, so to speak. We know that like usually we refer to the Native Americans as Lamanites because the bulk of those that remained after this conflict between the Nephites and the Lamanites, the bulk that remained and survived and conquered and won were the Lamanites. But we have accounts in the Book of Mormon that there were Nephites that defected. They joined the Lamanites. And so in any case, like over the course of time, over the history of the Book of Mormon, you really don't really have like pure anything. Just like how Israel is scattered all throughout the world. Your patriarchal blessing may say that you're from this tribe or that tribe, but in reality, you probably have a mix of different tribes. So I don't know, maybe it's something like that. I'll have to look into it further, but they did some archaeology on the Nephite altar, but the Adamic altar of prayer, that seems to be different. It's not located there now. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if it was buried, or maybe like, I don't know if like the church preserved those stones, or I don't know what happened to it. But going to Google Earth, we're talking about this area approximately like over here. Approximately. I mean, it could be like anywhere along Tower Hill, but there's kind of like a prominent spot over here where it's a good candidate for where it could have been, but we don't really know. Okay, so whatever the case, a Native American altar, maybe descendants of Nephi, or who knows, I have no idea, and then Adam's altar for prayer. Okay, continuing on. Elder Dyer identified the two pieces of property totaling 140 acres that options to buy had been obtained from Dustman by the church. The one piece contained the bluff area of Spring Hill. Now, this is a different area, so Spring Hill is like over here approximately. I didn't get to like check out Adam-ondi-Ahman as much as I wanted to when we were there. Here, let me do it like this. Oh, this is probably Spring Hill right here. So you can kind of see, like, they're not, it's like they're not mountains, they're hills. Like on Google Earth, you kind of struggle. But here's Tower Hill. And then I guess Spring Hill would actually probably be like either here or here. Sorry, I should have checked that out before the video. I was just assuming right here based on where Tamara took us. Because like you have this, like you park your car over here, and then there's a trail that you can walk down, and there's some flower gardens right here that are taken care of by the senior missionaries that work at Adam-ondi-Ahman. And then the trail continues down like this, and then you have Preacher Rock that's over here somewhere. And then when you go to the right, you know what? I think this is Spring Hill right here, because look at these like tracks, these like car tracks. Because when Tamara was taking us there, we didn't go all the way because my family was tired, so we just kind of stopped right here. But if we had continued on up this way, that went to Spring Hill. Okay, so what does Spring Hill matter? Okay. The piece contained the bluff area of Spring Hill, where once many of the homes of Adam-ondi-Ahman were erected, including also the ruins of the storehouse located in the center block of this old city, together with the temple site and the altar site, where sacrifice was this says officered by Adam. So the original plan was there was going to be a city. You have some of the remains, like you have Lyman White's home, which is like right here. And if you come around here, there's like some ruins of the city that started to be built. But it seems to me that somewhere around here is where like the central block of the city where the temple would have been built was. And it seems that this is the location of it's the location of Adam's altar where he would offer up sacrifice. And the interesting thing about that, I just want to remind you, or in case you haven't seen this before, Heber C. Kimball's account of that altar. This is from Life of Heber C. Kimball, which was compiled by Orson F. Whitney. Okay. And toward the end of this quote, he says, now this is at Adam-ondi-Ahman. Well, I'll start right here. While there, we laid out a city. This would be the city of Adam-ondi-Ahman, on a high elevated piece of land, and set the stakes for 4 corners of a temple block. Okay, not the temple itself, but like the temple block. which was dedicated by Brother Brigham Young being mouth. There were from 300 to 500 men present on the occasion under arms. The elevated spot was probably about 250 to 500 feet above the level of Grand River. Grand River, let me just show you that. Grand River is this river right here that kind of like wraps around the valley of Adamandayaman, so that one could look east, west, north, or south as far as the eye could reach. It was one of the most beautiful places I had ever beheld. The prophet Joseph called upon Brother Brigham, myself, and others, saying, "Brethren, come, go along with me, and I will show you something." He led us a short distance to a place where were the ruins of 3 altars built of stone, one above the other, and one standing a little back of the other, like unto the pulpits of the Kirtland Temple, representing the order of 3 grades of priesthood. There, said Joseph, is the place where Adam offered up sacrifice after he was cast out of the garden. The altar stood at the highest point of the bluff. I went and examined the place several times while I remained there. So I've talked about this recently, but these pulpits are not just random or just like an innovation of Joseph Smith. It seems that they were inspired because of Adam's altar, the pulpits of the Kirtland Temple, as well as any temple that has an assembly room, like the Salt Lake Temple has an assembly room, St. George, Nauvoo, those like early temples. So really you have kind of like these representations of Adam's altar in these temples, which I think is really cool. And that altar for sacrifice. So we already read that this one would be the altar for prayer on Tower Hill. And then the altar for sacrifice would be over here somewhere, Spring Hill, where the temple was going to be built for the city of Adamandayaman. So that is just really cool and amazing to me. Okay, continuing. President McKay returned to sit in the car where a U.S. engineer's map was shown to him, which identified there on the spot the location of the Pattonsburg Dam in the conservation pool or reservoir it would create. Yeah, I'm not going to get into the details of that, but there was a concern about this proposed dam that was going to be built. I don't think it was built. I don't know, or maybe the location was changed, but they were concerned about how that dam would affect Adamandayaman. Elder Dyer pointed to the site to the east of Tower Hill, where the dam was originally planned for erection in location to the changed location about 1 mile up the Grand River to the west and north, to show the distance actually affected in the relocation of the dam. Okay. So it was going to be, it says pointed to the site to the east of Tower Hill. So here's Tower Hill. So maybe like right here where you have the bend, like somewhere on this side. But then it went 1 mile up the Grand River to the west and north. So instead of there, going over here somewhere, I guess. Okay, whatever. To get a better feel of the area, the car with President McKay and President Smith was driven down the narrow cobble-strewn road from Tower Hill and passing the remains of Lyman White's home, which, again, here's like the parking area. I don't know what it was like at the time that he was there, but here's like the parking area. And then Lyman White's home is actually like about right here. So they like started coming down this way into the large valley of Adamandayaman. So probably something like this. The car was stopped at the base of the bluff where the north end of the dam axis will anchor. It was clearly seen at this point how the historic area of Spring Hill of Adamandayaman had been preserved from inundation by the relocating of the dam site. Yeah, because Spring Hill is like over here. So, okay. The high point of Spring Hill was pointed out to the president. It is upon this high part of the bluff where the temple site was dedicated, and near to this is the site of the altar of Adam. So the temple would not have been built where the altar of Adam was, but somewhere near it. President McKay remarked that all this was most important land in a very sacred place. All right. And so that's the end of the account. So now, at least for me, I have a better idea. I can kind of visualize it using Google Earth, approximately where these locations would be, and get a better feel for Adam-ondo-Yaman. So the primary places are the valley of Adam-ondo-Yaman. You have Grand River that goes around the valley of Adam-ondo-Yaman. You have Tower Hill, which is the site of that like Native American altar, as well as Adam's altar for prayer, right? You have Lyman White's house. You have Preacher Rock down here. You have some other things like when you come around this way, there's like a hand-dug well that Joseph Smith helped dig. And then over around this way, you have Spring Hill, and somewhere over here is the block that was dedicated for the temple. And near the temple would have been Adam's altar for sacrifice. And that altar is the pattern for these pulpits that we find in the assembly rooms of temples that have assembly rooms. So it's all really neat. I cannot wait for this place to be built up, just like Kirtland and Independence, Missouri, by members of the church. Someday, I think that city is going to be built, as well as the temple. It's not just going to all be rural anymore. I think Adam-ondo-Yaman has a very, very exciting future. Aside from just the meeting that's going to take place there, like the actual development of this place is going to be very, very exciting. So yeah. And meeting up with Tamara, she's not originally from Missouri. They're from Utah. And she felt the call, not to Kirtland, not to Independence, Missouri, or anything like that, but to Adam-ondo-Yaman. They were able to find like this house that's just like perfect for them. And it's just really cool to see these places that we were expelled from, and seeing members of the church return, and that's probably just going to continue to increase. Okay, that's going to be it for this one. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.